Hi guys, Mr. Jaeger here, and welcome back to the IAE Expo. Wait, isn't that just the IAE show? There we go. So this is day 3, and as like the last 2 days, which I will link in the description down below, we are going to do a bit of a tour around the expo, showcasing all the things available. To be displaying some very primitive knowledge of said vehicles in the show, and then if I get the opportunity to, or if I get to, if I see there's a particular vessel I want to have a go at, I will make a quick video potentially. And probably at the rate things are going, I'm trying to play catch up with the expo day, so I will have the first day's vessels in form, and then I will try and catch up with those, but those will probably come after or near the end of the event, probably depending on what's going on. Stuff might happen, but regardless. So first of all, let us look at the multiple brands. Today we have 4 brands in to show, which is actually pretty awesome. We have consolidated Outlands, which is in the distance over there, Kruger Intergalactic on the left, Tumbrill on the right, but my brain keeps wanting me to say Tumble, so that's fun, and Greycat. Probably the most popular little vessel inside. So this particular thing, Greycat, I like that. Greycat, if you're not looking, industrial. Anyway, so let's start with the Greycat. So the Greycat is probably one of the most little popular vehicles, and is also the cheapest vehicles to find in the verse. 2-seater with 4 very nice looking wheels, nice shock absorbers, and a revolutionary new step system that allows you to get in without fear of hitting your ankles on the way in. A truly revolutionary new thing. Also, added for protection against all elements, you have what is known as the roll bar Mark 97B. This roll bar, invented by Greycat a couple years ago, revolutionized the whole of the Greycat industry, propelling this little car to absolute greatness, and the music agrees with me also. What a tremendous invention. A 60cc, this however is one of the weaker points of the vessel in my opinion, only 110cc engine. Though it is green, and it is, it is completely free on green energy. It may need a diesel engine to charge it though, just to be a ward. But if we want a cheap vehicle, and also a very universally adaptable to cargo spaces, that's right, this thing is so small it can fit into the cargo bay of an Aegis Avenger Titan. So as you know, if there's a hole, you got a Greycat. Anyway, so going on to continuing our ground vehicle trend, we'll go from left to right. We will now go to the Tumbrill, which are basically the Humvees of Star Citizen, and they do have quite a large selection. They also have a few motorbikes in the background, which are unfortunately unable to be, they're not in the game yet, but very soon. Which will hopefully allow for 2-wheeled combat. But for now, let's have a look at probably the mainstay, and also one of the vehicles which I would argue is a pretty good option for your first ground vehicle in Star Citizen. If I ever get round to it, I may make a video about it. So let's start with the bog standard edition Tumbrill. This is the Tumbrill, if the game wants to do it, Cyclone RN. This is a fairly standard reconnaissance style vehicle. It has a crew of 2, revolutionary step system, nowhere near as advanced as Greycat, I'm afraid, but still just as important. It has a very intriguing wheel design. We call this the Caterpillar Insider. It's a very nice looking thing. It has what is known as the, I have no idea what it's called, but it's an amazing looking shock brake system. It can withstand quite a lot of punishment in low G environments as well. If some of you may recall, I made a video driving around with my friend on one of these vehicles on Levski, whereupon we drove to on Delamar, which was actually quite a lot of fun, not gonna lie. Anyway, going on to the next vehicle, this Tumbrill Cyclone. I want to say Tumbler or Tumble, both of which Tumbler. Both of which, well, I hope Tumblr doesn't exist in Star Citizen Universe. Oh my god. Anyway, so this is the Tumbrill Cyclone AA. Pretty much the same vehicle as the RN, only this time this thing has the determination to tell anything flying above it to fuck off, which is a very useful trait. 2 size 1 gun. Hang on, let me try and see if I can get access. Can I jump on the wheel, or can I actually jump in the... Yep, there we go. So, this has 2 missile systems, 2 size 2 to 3 missiles, I believe size 2s. And it also looks like it's got a gun on it, though I could be mistaken. No, these are just missile carriers. So yes, you have 2 size 2 missiles, which will tell any particular vessel flying above you where to go, which is pretty nice. And now we have the Tumbrill Cyclone. This is, again, pretty much same design, only this time it has wheelchair access. A very forward-thinking company this is. It allows you also to transport multiple crew members inside the Tumbrill Cyclone, and I will just do this to sort of showcase. Very nice, and in fact even has seating if someone would want to, though these are more just buffers because, you know, try staying in this vessel long enough whilst it's trying to charge through the universe. But still, it's nice that there is an option, but again, it as a light armoured vehicle, it does the job quite spiffingly. And then we have the Tumbrill Cyclone RC, which is the Racer Edition. Much more juice into the very nice looking rear of the ship. In fact, let me just get the serial number. Yep, it looks badass. Sadly, no flames on the side, but don't worry. I'm sure if you're a ship driver, you'll have flames anyway. And the vehicle just looks badass with these particular things. I mean, in general, the Tumbler looks really... the Cyclone looks absolutely gorgeous from the front. I'm not going to lie. That's just my own personal opinion. I'm not even going into a joke film. It just game looks nice. So this is the Racer Edition. Not really much on the defensive side of things, but good God, can she go. I mean, hello? Quad exhaust? Lovely. And this particular vessel is the last we have in our Tumbrill things. The man is so delighted to see it that he is bowing his head in respect of this particular vessel. And why wouldn't you? It's a Tumbrill Cyclone with a gun on the back. So this is the Tumbrill Cyclone TR. One of the, I suppose, lightest, finger quote, ground kind of vehicles you want to have with an offensive capacity. Same design as always, the front two sections are there, reasonable amount of armor. It does in fact have its own shielding system. However, this man is unfortunately now stuck for all eternity inside the turret. Let's send him some words of encouragement. Good luck, my friend, and have a good one whilst you're trapped inside that particular vessel of your own karmatic design. So, yes, the only downside, having spoken from experience in regards to this, is that the gun, while it is a size 1 ballistic weapon, and if I'm not mistaken, you can in fact upgrade it or change it around depending on the sizing. Again, not too familiar with the ground vehicle style things, but I'm sure you can do something. The Tumbrill Cyclone's gun has a limited field of fire in terms of gun depression and angling. And also, if I'm not mistaken, you can't 100% turn this thing around. Like, you can't do a 180, or if you can, it's not the greatest and safest of views. You will, unfortunately, also have... looks like the poor man has given up on life. Yep, he has. Trapped for all eternity inside such an amazing vehicle. He had a catastrophic cardiac arrest, and now we have to call the janitors. But no, the gun itself, the vehicle itself is not too bad. The gunner, though, is not very well protected, but it does the job regardless. Anyway, now, going on to the Kruger Intergalactic. Kruger Intergalactic, you may know, is famous for its levitational gun positions. Revolutionary designs. Completely functional and dangerously effective. Devastatingly effective if you are on the wrong side of them, so yeah. But no, these are basically the two vehicles, the P-72 Archimedes and the P-52 Merlin. These are snub fighters. Now, for those who don't know in Star Citizen terms of snub fighters, these are basic, or parasite fighters, these are basically fighters that primarily utilize another ship to survive and live in. I could probably throw in a few inappropriate jokes, but hey ho, YouTube censorship. Anyway, so, these particular vessels do not have a quantum drive, but what they lack in quantum drive, they make up for in mobility, speed, and, well, depending on the type of version you have, a relatively decent level of weapon armoredness. So let's have a look at the bog standard edition first, which, by the way, these fighters, both of them, fairly cheap in comparison to many other variants of fighters. This is the P-52 Merlin. This is one of the more cheaper snub fighters, currently costing 20 quid on the pledge store minus VAT, and it has access to a two size 1 repeater pulsers, and if I can get the ability to jump on this thing, or if I can just jump, whereabouts is it? Oh, there it is. It has also access to a size 2 to 3 chain gun in the center, so even something this small can have a mighty bird, which is lovely. It has very nice looking engines as well, 2 simple ones, and it has the ability to be quite maneuverable. But again, this is the slightly cheaper version, so it does not have, it has its own advantages. By the way, both vessels, it's not a case of that's the cheaper one and it's shiter, and that's the more expensive one, but better. Both types of fighters have their own unique strengths and differences. I cannot explain this to you now because we'd spend forever talking about it. But what I can say is that I personally like the aesthetics of this one more. Maybe it's the painting work or whatever. But anyway, let's go on to the Archimedes. So the Archimedes, the P-72 Merlin, somewhat similar style guns, though admittedly it does, I think, doesn't actually have the size 2 to 3 massive chain gun in the center, which in my opinion is kind of a letdown, though it does seem to have something in the front, which I can't actually seem to be jumping, so I can't actually fucking see. Oh no, that's just the air intake. Cool. So it's probably this one person, just all these people just staring at this one guy going, Anyway, so it loses its size 2 to 3 chain gun, but it instead gets 2 more size 1 repeaters, which you could argue, and these things look like they're on gimbals, so you could find that this vessel is more damaging, and you can use that maneuverability rather than having a hard-pointed gun to try and constantly poke your nose at. You instead have the ability to fly around, be a bit more maneuverable, and Dakar all your way in. I'm probably gonna rent both of these vessels and try and have a little bit of a crack at it. Though the annoying thing is, again, unfortunately, this thing does not have QT. So depending on how things go, the normal place I do like missions wise, it's going to be a bit interesting. I may have to do slightly different stuff. But regardless, both vessels I find to be aesthetically pleasing. One more than the other, but it looks fucking gorgeous regardless, and I love it. Anyway, quick mention of note. The Tumbrill, if I haven't mentioned this already, will be adding a variety of other vehicles as well to its roster, so it won't just be regarding to the Humvees in this form of the Chakrons. We're expecting to see what are known as Rangers, which are basically motorbikes, and variety of those, depending of course on what you're doing, will reflect in the form of either a racing one, a box standard one, like one for transporting, or one with guns. And finally also there is apparently the tank, which it's a little less likely to come in sooner. I think the bikes will probably come in first and the tank afterwards, but regardless, it's a tank. But yeah. So anyway, let us now go to the final part of the thing with consolidated Outland and the ships that I could not give a flying fuck about. Sorry guys out there who are fans of these vessels, but I will never find an enjoyment out of these. Very big, to be honest with you, this expo area is probably kind of evocative of my particular vibe with these particular vessels, which is all this space with all of this capacity to look really impressive, and this is all that's there. Of course, I am talking about the Mustang. So one of the unique things about the Mustang is that, first of all, it is one of the finger quote starter ships in terms of cost that is available to the player. Depending on what version of the Mustang you get, if I'm not mistaken, the beta is one of the vessels that you get, or alpha, I can't remember the exact term. No, I don't want to rent it. Jeez, I want to get into it as much as I don't want to get into it. So this is the Mustangs. They are quite maneuverable aircraft with quite a lot of, well, depending on what version you get, quite maneuverable, quite effective, and of course quite enjoyable to... Unfortunately though, these things lack a rather... With this particular version, the Beta, has a bit of a problem in terms of spacing. Sadly, there is... this one's the Mustang Gamma. And while it's cool and it has its own thing, it does have a rear seat as well. It's not quite... Question, does it turn around or do you get out? Does it turn around? Do you get... No, you just get out of the vessel. Alas. So as you can see, there is not really much versatility when it comes to the this particular vessel, which is, in my opinion, a bit of a shame. I've not really had a great amount of experience with... No, I have had a great amount of experience with this thing, because I did actually fly this. I had this and an Aurora for quite some time before I made the plunge and got the Avenger. But this vessel, the Mustang starter pack, does not have a bed, and it is only a dedicated fighter, so it doesn't really give you a whole lot, though this version looks slightly better, so who knows, maybe I'll get lucky. Do I have access to get into the ship, or is this something that I'll have to muck around with, or is there other things? I mean, obviously, I'm up to changing my opinions on the matter, but again, it's very difficult to... I can't honestly say I can't honestly say this particular vessel inspires a lot of evocative emotions in that regard. Maybe if I have to take one out for a spin, maybe I'll have to do like a trial period or whatever. So we'll try and find the nice-esque looking one. There is something there though. I'm very curious. I don't think it'll work, but who knows? Well, I can't spend too much time around it. So again, the design of the Mustang is it's fast, it's maneuverable, it has a whole bunch of versions, a bit like the Hornet. It has a racing version, a military version, a stealth version. And again, depending on the price margin, you can either get a slightly better or shiter one. This one kind of looks like a more meanie looking one, so maybe we'll take this one. This is the Mustang Delta. So again, it's one of those vehicles which I think it's either you love it or you just don't care about it. And in my case, I think I just don't care about it. The cargo space system still doesn't work. Which again makes the versatility and usability, in my opinion, of this vehicle to be very limited. So overall, the vessel can be quite dangerous and can be quite effective as a fighter slash whatever, but no, not for me. Aesthetically, I'm not a big fan of the design. Folding wings aside, no, it just doesn't work anything for me. But again, if you are into this thing, sure, go waste your money. But regardless, I hope you guys have enjoyed this particular quick preview. I will attempt to probably take out the nicest or the meanest looking version of the Mustang as a fair test, because again, I haven't flown these things in quite some time. Maybe it's better. Maybe my experience of Star Citizen will make me turn a new leaf. I'm always up to being wrong. And if you guys have any comments or any kind of feedback or any particular ships that you're looking forward to seeing in the Expo, or you're looking forward to me attempting to correctly explain or to express the details of, then let me know in the comment section down below. And I hope to catch you in the next Expo demonstration. And I will see you then. This is Mr. Jaeger signing out. Have a good one, guys.